Welcome to the channel if it's your first time here, and welcome back if it's not. Now, subscribers to my channel will know that recently I've been buying several different new versions of consoles from AliExpress with varying degrees of success. And in this box, we've got another one, but it's very, very different to the other ones we've looked at before. Let me get out of the box and I will explain. Now, what we've got here is a Famicom AV. Now, this is actually an original Famicom AV, but it's been pimped somewhat. Now, from looking at it, you probably wouldn't know that it had been pimped. It looks very, very original, and that is what I love about this. And essentially, Famicom was the name of the Nintendo Entertainment System over in Japan. This was sort of the second iteration of it. The original one looked quite different. It was red and beige, and the controllers were actually built into the device. It didn't have controller ports like this one does. And he's kind of regarded as one of the best versions of the NES. But there is one problem with it. It's the Famicom AV. So by default, the video signal is a composite audio video signal. Very similar to what you'd got out of the original NES. But yeah, it comes out of here, which is the AV out, which is exactly the same as the Super Nintendo and also the GameCube and Nintendo 64 AV out. So it sort of shared that common connector that they started using, but it only supplied a composite AV signal, which isn't very good. But this has been modified so it actually outputs an RGB signal through this port. And I bought this from AliExpress already modified, and it cost me £120. Now that is a lot of money for essentially an old console, because you can pick these up on eBay for a lot cheaper, but the hard work of the modification has been done for you already. Now what I'll do in a bit is I will crack this open and I can show you the modification. But if you want to buy yourself this or anything else from AliExpress, because I've got a whole range of cool products that I want to show you in this video, what you can do is you can get some money off by using the discount codes I'm putting up on the screen now. Now these discount codes do have an expiry date, as you can see, and I can't change the video once it's uploaded to YouTube, but what I can do is make sure there are some up-to-date coupon codes in the video description. So if these ones have expired, then the ones in the description should be good for whenever you're watching this video. Let's just have a quick look around at this. So yeah, to all intents and purposes, it is a standard Famicom AV. It's got the cartridge slot at the top, which I think is 60 pin versus the NES's 72 pin. So it does have a smaller cartridge slot, but we'll get around that. We've got a power on button here. We've got the reset button here. We've got our two controller ports here. And I think this is a connector for the Famicom disk drive add-on, I think. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's what it is. And then on the back here, we've got our DC input, which is DC 10 volts at 850-ish milliamps, and it is center negative. A lot of DC adapters will be center positive, so don't go putting in the wrong type of adapter. Although it did say in the listing for this, it doesn't matter if it's positive or negative, but I've stuck on the safe side and gone with center negative because that's what it had originally. And yeah, we've got this standard AV out port that will accept a SCART cable or an RGB cable, but because this is an NTSC console, you will need an NTSC SCART cable. NTSC RGB SCART cables and PAL RGB SCART cables are slightly different. I think it might be the NTSC versions have small resistors on the color lines, so if you use the wrong kind of cable, the colors are all a bit wrong and wonky. I think I'm right in saying that, but I do have a RGB SCART cable designed for an NTSC Nintendo console, so that's all good. And I'll stick a link to that in the video description. Now, like I mentioned, this has the smaller pin connector, and so I can play some games with it. I've got this, which is a Famicom Everdrive unit, and we've seen Everdrive units before on this channel, but if you haven't seen one of my videos before and you don't know what they are, essentially they're cartridges that have an SD card slot on them, and you can put on the SD card backups of your legally owned games, and you can play them all through the menu on this. Now, you might have a collection of these kind of cartridges. Now, this is an NTSC, Nintendo Entertainment System game, and yeah, it don't fit in the slot. That's what she said. So what I picked up is this adapter. I got this from AliExpress, and it cost me around about £10. It doesn't actually have a case or anything. I might try and 3D print one, maybe. And essentially, it tells you which way round this goes. So here, it says Famicom front. So that is facing out towards you on the Famicom. And then on the back, it says NES front. So essentially, when you put your cartridge in here, you have to put it the opposite way around. So there you go. And then it will go into the console like that, with the label facing away from you. And these work pretty well, really. But it also means if you've got an Everdrive that's in this style, so an NES style one, you can use that as well. So yeah, I'll stick a link to this in the video description. And essentially, it's just a slight variation on the same thing. So if you do have one of these already that isn't modded, you can actually buy the mod kit separately. I think it costs around about £45 to £50, and you can install it yourself. Now, I have got experience of installing one of these mod kits, but you haven't seen the video. Well, if you're a channel member, which is an awesome thing to be, I did actually put together some of the video that I was planning to make, where I modded my UK NES to try and install the RGB mod into it. Now, the problem is with this particular RGB mod, it doesn't work on PAL consoles. And on all of the listings where it's sold on AliExpress, it doesn't actually tell you that. Some of them do now, but at the time I bought my mod, it didn't. It just said you could put it into a front-loading NES and it would work, and there was instructions and it all looked great. And then I installed it and it didn't work properly. It was all janky because it's designed for an NTSC one. So yeah, I kind of rage quit that video. And I thought, why not get one of the arguably best versions of the NES or Famicom and have it modded already? So that's what I did. This does look like a standard Famicom AV, but there is a very subtle difference, which is right here. And at the bottom here, you've got this tiny switch that's a three-way switch. So it goes to the top, middle, and then bottom. And that alters the palette that the RGB outputs. There are sort of three different modes. I think one of the modes makes it like the Play Choice 10 arcade machine, so it makes the colours a bit brighter and garish, and then there's another two modes, but we'll switch between those later on in the video. Now, the Famicom AV has its own design of controller. I don't have one of those. I've just got a standard NES controller. It will work just fine. We plug it in the front. So yeah, let's try our Everdrive. Let's see if this works. I hope it does. 1, 2, 3. Everdrive lights on. It helps if I turn my scaler on. Oh man, I was worried for a second. There we go. Boom. There we go. Let's try a bit of Super Mario, because everyone knows what this looks and sounds like. Actually, I say that, I don't think I've ever played this at 60 Hertz. Look at how crisp that is. That video output is insane. That is just so clear and crisp. It genuinely looks like it's like a proper HDMI output. I don't think I've seen a Nintendo look this good. Right, let's just try the palette switch. So I think at the moment it's in its lowest position. So let's switch it to the middle. Okay. And then let's switch it to the top position. Wow, okay. Yeah, that's really garish. I don't hate it though. Yeah, which one do you prefer? Do you like the top, the middle, or the bottom? Let me know in the comments. I'd be interested to hear what you think. That just looks insanely good. That is super crisp. Right, let's just give it a quick go. That looks incredible. That is so good. Wow, I love that. Actually, let's try our different Everdrive with the adapter. So we've got our NES front side and then our Famicom front side. Sonic the Hedgehog NES. Okay, so this cartridge seems to have some slightly random versions of the games on. Is this actually going to be Super Mario Brothers 3? I've got literally no idea. Oh no, that is it. Excellent. Okay, cool. I had no idea if that was going to work. Again, this just looks fantastic. While we're looking at how everything looks and sounds, let's check out Contra, Castlevania, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I wonder what happens if I put a PAL game into this, what it does. Because I've got Super Mario Brothers 3, but a PAL copy. I don't think it has any kind of region protection on this, but it'd be interesting to see what it does. I imagine it might work, but it might just be a bit messed up, or a lot messed up. It messes with my brain having the cartridge in the wrong way. Oh, that looks like it plays okay. Let's see if we go into the game. So obviously this is optimized for PAL, and then when it goes into an NTSC console, it plays sped up. Okay, but it does still play, it's just faster, probably a bit harder to play as well. But yeah, I think out of the two Everdrives, this guy definitely seems to be a bit better and have like fewer hacked versions of games. This just is original games and hacked games central. So yeah, I'm pleased I've got this one. Right, I think what we should do now is maybe crack this open and have a little look at the mod itself and see how it all works. Because it's actually quite clever. So yeah, let's get out the grey mat and get this opened up. So to open it up, we have to flip it over. And it's as simple as it gets, really. We've just got to remove these 1, 2, 3, 4 screws. And they're sort of standard Nintendo game bit screws. So while I take out these 4 screws, let's quickly shout out my channel members. If you want to become a channel member and get a shout out in a future video, then just scan the QR code in the corner. So our channel members at time of editing this month are the Kip Fans. Then we've got the Kip Early Birds, who are Tim Salt, Sorcerer San, Mark C and Rob Lynn. Then we've got the Kip Lovers, who I love very much. I want to kiss their foreheads. They are Bella Webster, Stez Stixfix, Lawrence, Scott Kendall, Props Retrofix, Coaster Chelsea, DD Media Production, Lee Benz, Ann and David Hughes, Danielle Adele, and then James and Danny. And then finally, we've got the nuttiest people that I know. They are the Kip Nutters, and they are the incredible Becky Boobar and the delicious Alan Green. Thank you to my Kip Nutters and all my channel members. Anyway, I think it's ready to be opened. That's what she said. There we go. I'm not going to dismantle this too much further because I don't want to disturb the mod or anything like that. but you can sort of see what's going on here. So essentially right at the bottom we have the original main board for the Famicom AV, and then we've got these sort of 3 additional daughter boards. So we've got this one up here, we've got this one here, and then we've got this one down here. And essentially this is tapping on to our output on the back there to insert in the RGB and sync signals. And the RGB and sync signals are coming here from this additional board. Then we've got this switching board at the front here, which provides the switch under the little grill, and that goes round and through onto there. Now the way this mod works is, it's quite similar to other RGB mods for the Nintendo or Famicom, and you essentially plug it into the original PPU socket of the Famicom or NES, and you take out the PPU, and that is the PPU chip there. I think it's the picture processing unit, that's why it's called PPU. Once you've desoldered the PPU, you put in a socket, and then you put in this board, and then you put the PPU into this socket, and it sort of basically pulls out all the RGB signals that the PPU is generating and converts it into something that will go onto our multi-out. It's really quite simple, very clever. Now these boards work on the original Famicom, the AV Famicom like I've got, and also the front-loading NES consoles, but only the NTSC versions of them. Now it's different from, say, the Tim Worthington mod, which will work on all versions of the Famicom, whether it's PAL or NTSC. It's just got a jumper that you can set, I think. So this mod is sort of very similar. It's slightly limited on the consoles that it can run on. I think the Tim Worthington RGB mod is around about £80, and this mod is sort of £40 to £50. I will put a link in the video description where you can actually buy this mod and you can do it yourself. But I just thought it'd be interesting to get a pre-modded console, because not everyone likes soldering, and also with this job, because the PPU chips aren't socketed, there's a lot of desoldering and resoldering, and it is quite fiddly. And if you damage the PPU at all, if you bend or break a pin, it's game over. You can't buy brand new replacements. Well, you can, they're not always very good. So yeah, it is a bit of a sort of daunting task to do. So I kind of like that you can buy one that's already been done for you, or you can just buy the kit and do it yourself. But yeah, it's really clean and tidy the way it's installed. And essentially this little RGB breakout board just solders onto the bottom of the AV out connector and just pumps in the RGB signals. So it couldn't be simpler. I think the only point noting, if you're putting it back together, you need to make sure these cables are out of the way of this screw post here. And putting it back together is as easy as screwing in those 4 screws. So I'm going to do that now. Do you know what? I'm actually really impressed with this, considering that essentially this is a second-hand console that is over 30 years old. It looks brilliant. It looks fantastic. It does look like a new console. There are a few little sort of scratches on the bottom, but this is a fantastic example of the Famicom AV, and it's made even better by that ingenious little mod that you wouldn't even know is there. Now this has kind of made me think maybe I should try doing the mod myself, but this time on an NTSC console. I don't know. Let me know in the comments what you think about that, or if there's anything else NES RGB based you'd like to see me try. But I am just really happy now to have a fully working NES/Famicom in my collection again, because yeah, there's no saving my old front loader. Rest in peace, little guy. Well, I guess it's time to say rest in peace to this video. But yeah, I don't think I've got anything else to say, so thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, but for now, it's game over.